I never want anybody to be above the law. But the pardons are a very positive thing for a president. The question was asked yesterday about pardons with respect to Paul Manafort. I said, I'm not taking anything off the table. We're looking at a lot of different pardons for a lot of different people. Some of these soldiers are people that have fought hard, long, and then when they fight, sometimes they get really treated very unfairly. The power to pardon is a beautiful thing. You got to get it right. You got to get the right people.
Who says that stuff out loud? Donald Trump does, because he loves a good old-fashioned presidential pardon. But now that his affinity for circumventing the rule of law is colliding with his chief campaign promise, some Democratic lawmakers are vowing to do something. According to the Washington Post, recent reports that Trump has assured aides he would pardon them of any legal wrongdoing in the course of fast-tracking the border wall have red lights flashing in Congress. The Post quotes David Cicilline, a member of Democratic leadership in the House Judiciary Committee, as saying, quote, sadly, this is just one more instance of a president who undermines the rule of law and behaves as if he's a king and not governed by the laws of this country. He's not a king. He's accountable. And I think it just adds to the ongoing proceeding before the Judiciary Committee as we consider whether to recommend articles of impeachment against the president. Trump has denied he made any assurances, but voices from inside the administration are undermining that claim. From that Post article, quote, a White House official who spoke anonymously in advance of the report did not deny it and said Trump is joking when he makes such statements about pardons. Joining me and Rick, Jason Johnson, politics editor for The Root, Juanita Tolliver, director of campaigns at the Center for American Progress Action Fund and Republican strategist and author of Everything Trump Touches Dies, Rick Wilson. They're so, I have to start with you, because these are not funny people.
No.
But when Rosenstein talks about the 25th Amendment, he was being silly, he was being funny, it was sarcasm, you stupid reporters. And when Trump's talking about pardons, which we just played, I mean, there's more where that came from. He loves the pardon as much as he loves the helicopter. Right. He's joking.
This is a man who has zero sense of humor. Correct. Because he has zero sense of introspection. And he is absolutely not kidding. He's not joking. He is looking for shortcuts to do anything he can to circumvent the law, black letter law, the Constitution, whatever it is, to do something as a political stunt to feed his base, because they got to see their wall get built. They are desperate to have the wall built. Trump knows that is the single thing in his administration that most of the people on the lower end of his scale understand. They understand they're going to get their wall and Mexico's going to pay for it. Well, they're not. And now they're probably not going to get a wall. They're getting a fence. And Trump is very nervous about that. It's a promise that he's broken among many that is going to be something that even the slowest children in the class are going to realize he was BSing them from the very start.
Well, you know what? It's a serious point, though, because even viewers of Fox News had sort of the fantasy and the lie Trump tells at rallies that, oh, it's being built, we're finished, blown apart by Shep Smith yesterday.
The president has made border security a mainstay of his message, dating back to the campaign with Build That Wall, and Mexico will pay for it, though that last promise is long gone. So far, despite the president's claims to the contrary, there is no new wall. Existing barriers have been replaced with new ones, same span, not new place. The total of repaired barrier is about 60 miles along that 2,000-mile border. The president also said in the tweet that the wall is going up rapidly. It is not. As we just reported, there is no new wall, only replacement for walls which were in need of repair or upgrade. Those are the facts.
How about them apples?
And how dare someone on Fox News tell their viewers the truth?
God, I hope Shep has a food taster.
Like, my thing is, this is honestly a line in the sand for Trump right now, where he's feeling pressure not from just traditional media sources, but even Fox News, calling out the fact that not a single mile of his wall has been built. And considering that the economy is trending negatively, considering that Americans are feeling the impact of his trade war that he didn't need to do, this is the one thing he's clinging tight to. So he's willing to lie, do anything illegal, anything corrupt, tell his staff to break the law and say, hold up, don't worry, I got your back. Like, that's what he's doing right now. It's ridiculous.
I was never into Trump's political promises. They weren't for me. I didn't like them. I didn't vote for him. But if you were into those things, he sucks at giving them to you.
Yes, yes. And going back to even the promise that he's making to his internal staff, Michael Cohen, right? Like why would you ever believe this man?
He's on the HVAC team in prison now.
Goodness gracious.
So,
yeah, I mean, this guy's
twice before you.
Yeah, he's making license plates, right? Like, why would anyone in Donald Trump's orbit or universe believe he's going to have your back? So that's the first thing. The second thing is this. I really believe this about a lot of his supporters. They ultimately don't care. You know, as much as Donald Trump has lied and has been shown to be lying over and over and over again, his base of support, that 32 to 35% of Americans who absolutely love him, they love Donald Trump symbolically, and anything that he doesn't accomplish that he promises is going to be blamed on Democrats. It's going to be blamed on the squad. It'll be blamed on somebody else. So he won't face any consequences for these kinds of lies. And eventually, when he runs in 2020 and he's going up against a Democrat and there's no new wall being built, he'll just say, it's Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats who kept me from doing it. Re-elect me, and I'll make sure the wall gets built.
The wall, though, to me, is sort of everything about Trump manifests in the wall. When Republicans, were asked to make the wall happen, he shut down the government over it. He got no wall. I mean, it just illustrates, because it's this tangible thing. I mean, I think the damage he's doing on the world stage is generational and lasting. It keeps me up at night. The wall, I don't think anyone thinks that a wall is going to keep people out. But his inability to build this thing that nobody wants is, to me, the Trump story.
Yes, I mean, the wall is symbolic. It's a medieval idea that resonates with people.
Especially Trump's wall. It's actually slats.
Yes.
And they're pointy, and they have to be black.
Yes. and the failure to build the wall will also be symbolic and will reveal that he hasn't been able to accomplish anything. I want to go back to the pardon power and make a wonky point about it.
Please.
The reason he loves the pardon power is the reason why the pardon power is kind of a mistake. It's one of the only unmediated powers that the president has. It was kind of a mistake of the framers. They didn't want to do anything that felt kingly, like the pardon power. And I would argue, in fact, that of all these constitutional reforms that have to happen, the pardon power should be constitutionally remedied, right? There should, just the way Congress has to approve nominees that the president makes, Congress should have to approve pardons that the president makes. It should not be an unmediated power.
Well, I was going to talk about how a president who doesn't read his PDB is so obsessed in the shallow aspects of the wall, but you took me somewhere smarter, so we'll stay there. On this question of pardons, too, if you look at who he gave them to, I mean, George W. Bush notably did not pardon Scooter Libby.
Right.
Donald Trump, I'm not sure he ever met him, did. I mean, he views it, he doesn't even view it the way the reluctant framers might have.
Right.
He views it as a goodie, like the way he probably hands out cufflinks from the Oval. Like, here is some chum for my political patrons.
Yeah, so the pardon power in the most benign way is about sympathy. It's about mercy. It's the quality of mercy is not strained.
It's about justice. It's about equaling the scales of
But
justice.
he uses it as a quid pro quo. And in fact, even in that thing that in the Washington Post where he said, if you do what I say, I will pardon you, that's a malfeasance quid pro quo right there for the whole world to see.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not an immunity totem from Survivor, right? Like, it's not, you can't hand it out in advance and then tell people, okay, keep doing all these things. Because at some point, what Michael Cohen and some of these other people realize is to break the kind of laws that Donald Trump wants you to break, you may do things that he can't pardon you for, right?
And that self-sacrificial component of it is what they're missing.
Yes.
But let's be real, asking anyone who walks into the White House to do his bidding every day, is there anything left to sacrifice?
How is it any human being that can walk on two legs and read the basic English language walks in to say, you know, Donald Trump's going to pardon me if I do something illegal or wrong? How's Paul Manafort doing these days?
Yeah.
You know?
And Michael Cohen.
How's Michael Cohen doing? These guys, they should understand Trump is an utterly faithless person who operates from corrupt intent on everything.
Well, then that takes me to my next question, and I'm going to put you two on the spot. I was heartened to see Democrats say that we're going to add this to our impeachment proceedings. What impeachment proceedings?
Yeah, they haven't happened. The discussion of the beginning of possibly putting together a committee to put together a file to maybe think about it, that is literally, hypothetically, that is literally all they have done. And it's interesting because we just had more news this week. We're up to 135, 138 or so Democrats who say they want to do it. The polling is in their favor. The top 4 Democratic nominees for 2020 are all leading Trump by 8 to 10 digits. The political consequence argument, which is what Nancy Pelosi and insiders have been using for months and months, is no longer the case. So why aren't they moving forward? I don't know other than cowardice.
And there's going to be an immense pressure when they come back from recess to do something about this. Something so blatant being done right now as an abuse of power, like, can't be ignored.
Yeah.
So pressure is going to be on.
Look, I mean, the dangling of pardons was detailed in Mueller's reports, and I understand that an argument was made. Pelosi needed more information. These dangling of pardons have been now reported in the New York Times and the Washington Post. I mean, there is a Cliff Notes version. I mean,
Sure.
it's happening in real time.
Yeah.
Abuse of power,
and it can't be ignored.
Well,
But we've put too much. Now I'm dragging us in another direction.
Go ahead.
We've put way too much weight on the Mueller report, expecting that the Mueller report would be a kind of lay out the terrain of impeachment, lay out all the malfeasance that the president has done, the obstruction, collusion. There are so many more points for an impeachment of the president based on his daily and weekly behavior, rather than the things that he's done in the Mueller report. And Congress needs to think about it in that light, not just in the details of the Mueller report.
I guess my point, Rick, is they do neither.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have an answer.
In that case, after the break, the next Democratic debate will feature half as many candidates inside the shrinking Democratic field. That story next.